Kamil, head baker at Blackbird Baking Company. I've been here a little bit over 2 years now.
What made you want to be a baker?
My family has a bakery in Ottawa called the Rio Bakery. It was my grandfather and his dad's, so my great-grandfather and his kids started it. And then it's still in my family now, so I kind of grew up around bakeries. I don't know if I ever wanted to even get into it, it just kind of happened.
So what's a typical day like here?
So right now, Blackbird, we're operating 24 hours a day. So for me, usually I'll come in at around 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. I'll spend hours in the morning finishing baguettes. I'll then print all of the production sheets for the following week. I'll respond to emails in the morning. Then I'll usually jump on making sure that the drivers get out the door. We have 2 drivers who are over 50 wholesale accounts now. So in the morning, I'll usually spend some time just in the front here making sure that they're getting out the door on time and we're ready to open at 8 a.m. So we gotta make sure that all the drivers are out. And then generally, going into the rest of the day, just doing computer work, sometimes working on the tables, just, you know, managing things. It depends on how many people we have and what needs doing.
What do you like most about working here?
Well, I like working for Simon. He's like the most amazing boss ever. He gives tons of freedom, respects his employees, appreciates them, which is like the most important thing ever. And then I like that we put out a quality product.
What's your favorite thing to bake?
I like baking challah a lot because I'm Jewish and grew up eating challah, and my family's baker in Ottawa made like the best challah ever. So for me, it's like when I bake challah, anytime I bake it, it's like kind of a special, it's like a special thing.
Did you always wanted to approach a different field instead of baking?
I never really thought about doing much else because I really had no direction when I started baking. I dropped out of school and I dropped out of university at the time, and then I just started working in the front of house, and then they're like, you know, do you want to do something a little bit more like engaging? And I said, yeah, sure. So I started working in the back, and then 6 years later, you know.
What qualities do you think are necessary for somebody to thrive in this industry?
You need a lot of perseverance, and you need to have a lot of care because the hours are crazy and the commitments are serious and they hinder your friendships and your relationships. So you have to really want to do it, you know, and you got to be committed to putting out a quality product. Yeah, I mean, and if you're working in pastry, I mean, you probably need to be a little bit artistic too, right? I mean, I don't have any of those qualities, but I did work in pastry a little bit. I know it's not for me, but if you work in pastry, you know, things like that, you got to be like, it's half baking and half art almost to me. So.
Did anyone inspire you to bake?
I have a couple baking inspirations. I mean, my grandfather for sure was a big one. I mean, they weren't bakers by trade either. Their great-great-grandmother had a bakery in Ukraine, and so, I mean, they came to Canada and they, you know, worked hard and built a huge business in Ottawa, and it's a big bakery now. And so, I mean, I never even really knew him, but the stories about him in the community and things like that definitely inspired me. And then when I first started baking, I worked with this gentleman named Leonard Sterling, and he's a guy that has worked for my family for over 30 years. They brought him in from Montreal, and he's like the most amazing pastry chef I've ever seen. He's so fast, and he'd worked 6 days a week for 30 years without taking like any days off, you know, 1 day off a week for 30 years. Definitely an inspiration for me.
What's your experience at George Brown like?
My experience at George Brown was good. I had already been baking for a number of years before I went to the program. For me, really, the program was just a way to leave Ottawa. It wasn't so easy to leave my family's bakery, so I just, you know, saying like, oh, I'm going to go to school is better than saying, oh, I'm going to work for another bakery. So essentially that was I just needed to get out of Ottawa and experience some different things. So when I went to George Brown, I'd already worked at least a year in pastry and then almost 2 years in bread. So I had come to the table with some experience. So parts of it I found very basic, and then other parts of it I thought were very useful, and I actually did make some great connections there. It was overall, it was pretty good. I only did the 8-month, you know, 1 year course, and then by the time I was halfway done my program already, I'd already gotten a job working at Brook Street Bakery here in Toronto, and I was working like essentially overnights there and then going to school. So by the end of it, I was not in school as much as I should have been, but it was good because I was working. So.
What's your least favorite thing about
bread? I think it's got to be the hours. For sure. People want the bread earlier and earlier all the time, especially if they're cafes or they're places reselling the bread. So it's always, maybe my whole life, it seems like lately I've been waking up, you know, super early. That takes a toll sometimes, but short of that, I mean, sometimes it's nice to finish early in the afternoon and, you know, you're making a nice product and you care about it, then it's all good. Like, doesn't matter how early you wake up. If you're motivated to wake up, it's great.
What do you want to do next?
For me, I would like to grow. I would like to see Blackbird continue to grow. Since I've started here, we've tripled our output already. I know that in the next coming years, I would like to be a part of and help oversee like the expansion of Blackbird into something even bigger. And you know, like Simon had mentioned to you guys earlier, just make sure that, you know, just because we're going to be a big bakery doesn't mean that we can't still put out amazing crusty loaves of bread, you know, at a certain quality, and the quantity shouldn't really at any point diminish the quality. And I want to make sure, you know, I want to be at the forefront of making sure that that happens, you know, and really seeing the expansion through. Than that, I got a couple other things that I think could do well, but those ones I got to keep to myself for now.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much.